Hello and welcome back to Millennials Gone Circular, the podcast making circularity a reality. Today's episode is a little bit different. This was originally meant to be a completely different recording, but quite honestly, the three of us showed up feeling a bit tired, overwhelmed, and we're just trying to process everything that's happening in the world right now. So instead of forcing a polished conversation, we decided to just hit record and chat. And what followed was a very honest, very human jump on the mic session about climate anxiety, the geopolitics, sustainability fatigue, hope, identity, and then the list just goes on. And also trying to figure out where sustainability fits when the world feels a bit unstable. So this episode is reflective, it's philosophical at times, it's a slightly chaotic, but in the best of ways, I promise. And probably one of the rawest conversations we've shared on the podcast so far. So wherever you're listening in from, grab a tea, take a breath, and let's jump into it. This is a jump on the mic session, everyone. Yeah. Very impromptu. We came together to record something official, and then we realized, look, it's spring, the sun's out, but your old pal Caitlyn here is very PMSy and just spent the last 2 days networking at different events. And I just want to lay on my couch vertical with my cat and watch garbage TV. But I feel like this week, with all the things going on in the world with Iran and the Middle East, and just like it's a bit overwhelming. So I think that's where a lot of it's stemming from.
I'm still the grounded hope person, okay? I know I'm not the type of person who is going to change your full mindset just like that. But I have to accept that even for a person like me, something of this magnitude, it's a bit like, oh, come on. We're better than this.
Right? We've evolved. I thought we evolved.
Exactly. Like, come on. So that's more my feeling. Like, I see all this positive news on the other hand and think and actually good things happening in the world in some of the part of the world. And then you contrast that with these insane things. And then you said it's the same race, like the same humans in these two extremes. Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah. Are you going to say a naughty word?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't make me write this PG-13.
Beep. We can start using it.
What about you, Said? How are you feeling these days? Today? This week? This last month?
I like this saying from my friend. I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed again. Yeah, I think, of course, morally, it's like thinking about it. It's really like, yeah, as you said, Angelica, come on, why this is happening? But yeah, realistically, if you look at the history, it's like it repeats itself again and again. If you think about sustainability and if you are working towards an impact, you could just relate to one explosion and it just compensated everything you did, which is really sad. Like priorities have changed last week, and I guess nothing else matters anymore except like safety. Except like staying alive.
Except your survival.
Nothing else matters anymore. This turned dark.
Recently, I was reading something that it really makes me think. Maybe I don't know if I mentioned it on the last podcast, but it was like by Edward O. Wilson. He's a social biologist, and he said we are humankind. It's a species with Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology. And that's exactly our problem now. Like the technology that we have has evolved in such a way that our brain is not designed for, or institutions hasn't evolved to the level of social awareness that we have, and now we have this huge mismatch, you know? Like he was explaining something like, come on, we are made for 150 max 200 people tribes. So even the leaderships.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we are not designed to have leaders for 10, 200, 1 billion people. That's completely against our brain biology. And then we have the
But it
medieval
also
institutions.
justifies why I want to, like, I struggle in big cities with too many people. I just want like a couple of maybe 400, 500 is too big for me. Maybe even
Exactly.
just like
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I think the natural space for our humans, like if we go back in time, it's really to live in small tribes and yeah, not being under huge organizations or huge governance. It's yeah, I think it's the normal way, like a long time ago, but not anymore.
I mean, at all. If we think about the institutions, for example, he was mentioning something like feudalism technically ends long time ago, right? But the reality is, like, if you analyze many societies, even in countries like Colombia, like development countries, you can see that feudalism is still just like before, just in the Middle Ages. It's just like we put some makeup on it because we didn't have the capacity to reflect enough to actually like change the grounds of our institutions. We just develop some complexity over it, bureaucracy, but the basics of the ways to see the world of the institutions, they are just the same. So I thought it was so wise what he says.
Something I took away from the last couple of days has been really interesting, because the
Nothing
world is
matters.
nothing matters.
Besides that,
So there's a lot of course, a lot of narrative around things being unstable, especially geopolitically. And it kind of raises a question that when the world does feel unstable, where does sustainability sit? Because everyone just keeps saying, oh, it's really losing its priority, or this government's prioritizing X, Y, and Z and nuclear and defense. And do we not understand that that's adding to the problem? And it's just like it's almost an excuse to put sustainability on the back burner. And it's just really, yeah, it's disheartening. But if sustainability sat at the center of everything, because it encompasses social, economic, and financial, I would argue there's no need for war because, we're addressing things in that model. So it needs to be central so we can fix these issues. But maybe that's just the
I can
the
identify
visionary.
the issue with that, and I think it's because sustainability does not cover geopolitics. That's
We need a
we
sustainability square.
yeah, we
mhm,
need not just ESG but more ESG and another G for geopolitics.
yeah,
Well,
E
shouldn't
is double G.
governments double G? I'll take it up with the big man,
yeah.
whoever that is.
Uh,
I
mhm.
think he's orange these days, so probably won't go over well. But
Nah,
How do you feel,
eh.
Katie, with all the like? How do you feel is America now, like North America, like US?
I am embarrassed and I am disappointed and I am all of the things. I'm hopeful also, but just seeing the response that Americans have come back with, it honestly makes me tear up seeing how people are coming together across America in these different communities and just fighting for their neighbors that they don't know. And yeah, it's really beautiful. So it's unfortunate that it takes such a heavy time to bring that out in people. But it's a nice, our last episode was on grounded hope, and it is nice to see a sparkle of that shine through still with everything going on. But I would argue, I guess, to answer my own question
Yeah.
about, where does sustainability sit? I would say it's actually more important now than ever. It's just basic. It's a basic need to prevent this sort of stuff and to address it and the underlying issues of it.
No, I think you're totally right. I can't agree more because I feel like that's exactly what sustainability is about. Like, how are we going to keep ourselves in a peaceful way and in harmony with the environment on this planet? That is what sustainability is about. And all these geopolitical issues, they're just completely messing up with any possibilities that we have to keep ourselves in a good and nice way on this planet. So I think, as just like you said, now more than ever, we need to think about, okay, what's going to be our future if we keep behaving like this, if we keep our institutions like they are, if we keep our leaders like they are. Have I mean, and maybe I don't know if we should put this on air. At some point we'll cut it maybe, but I have seen all these memes that are so realistic about sustainability, like me trying to separate my plastic bottle on the meanwhile of leaders like bombing with nuclear guns, and I'm like, ah. Then you realize sustainability is not necessarily about all these things, like recycling. Of course, it's a big part of it. It's super important, but I think maybe now we should focus it more on a more not an existential thing about sustainability, because that's what they are now. How are we going to sustain ourselves on this planet? So maybe it's necessarily not about not focusing on sustainability anymore, as it has been happening now. But as you say, Katie, just retargeting what is very important about sustainability now and the core values of sustain ourselves in the planet,
Yeah. I think a lot of us are getting it almost feels intentional trying to create some distractions over here so we get so overwhelmed and burned out that it feels like we're living in a meme. I always think of that guy that's in an office desk and everything else around him is on fire. And he was just like, this is fine. That's how I feel. Just kind of numb to everything going on and everything is on fire. And yeah. But it's a good point for us to reflect that it's okay. I mean, it's okay that,
To not
we
be okay.
it's okay to be not be okay, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, and if all you can do today is just get through the day, and maybe that means you get a takeaway coffee not in your reusable cup, mate, just give yourself some grace. Like, you're doing the best you can with what we're being given, and yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the
And I
message that I want to like, receive myself today.
absolutely, and I think a lot of our us and a lot of our listeners will be relating to this. Um, and this brings takes me to one of the topics we have covered before is about awareness. That's in this kind of situation. That's where like the awareness level of us, our listeners, kind of define what would your behavior be in these circumstances. Would you just say, that's it, it doesn't matter whatever I do, they're just doing worse? Or you decide, I will continue to do my best every day, even though if it's very, very minimal. And I think that's where you stick actually to your core values, and you decide to isolate yourself from the media, from probably other kind of humans who are pessimists.
In terms of climate reality, a bit of a pulse check. What are you seeing apart from ourselves? What are you seeing in other people? How have you noticed if other people are engaging a bit more with climate issues? Or are they switching off and kind of also putting things on the back burner while they turn towards these other global issues?
I think at least in my circle, most of people I know, like who are not like trained or like do not work in sustainability area, most of them are not really engaged or take like very minimal actions based on what they're aware of, based on what they're instructed to do. And that's kind of disappoints me. And it's disappointing for everyone who cares, because mainly they are focused about their what they do. If they're like, let's say they are a teacher, they just teach like maths They have nothing to do
Just
with
teach
us.
math.
Yeah.
They
And then,
teach math.
yeah,
They're
so
amazing.
no, of course they are great. Like yeah, I mean, but I'm saying like that's what they do. And when with regards to like sustainability awareness and so on, yeah, for them it's just they're not probably even aware of 50% of
Yeah.
what they could do, and they don't bother, or maybe they're not aware. Yeah, so it's still a lot of work to be done there. Maybe it's about educational system which can target like the future generation, because I think like us and the previous generation, it's already late.
Not
Yeah,
too late, but it's late.
yeah, yeah. That's a
We're
good way to
older.
put it.
My neck hurts when I wake
I
up in the
agree.
morning.
But
Come on,
you,
youngin.
but you know something that I was thinking now that it was speaking like something that it came to my mind. It was like, I mean, after every single word in this planet, we have developed the best technologies that currently we're using. So if you want to be really positive, like the only good thing that comes out of wars is like we develop our highest potential when it comes to technology. For some reason,
Yeah.
when we get to this point where we really need to defend ourselves, like when it comes to like countries and stuff, we find the best technology. Governments invest insane amount of money on innovation that eventually, even though at the moment it's used for destruction, eventually it turns out like the best or like the most advanced technology in the future, in the close future. Like internet comes from it, GPS, like every single big technology that we have, AI, everything comes from actually an investment that came out of war. So I don't know if this even it's good to call it good, because it's of course super annoying that we have to show our best potential in innovation just after destroying ourselves. That's very sad, but that's also maybe something that we can learn of. Instead of judging it directly, maybe we can learn why that happened. Like why we need wars to develop new technologies. Is it that the only way to unlock our full potential when it comes to innovation? Just when we are defending ourselves or attacking others that we think are our enemies? Is it the only way? What do you think?
There is a saying, I think, I don't know if I'm translating it correctly to English, is like the necessity or the need is the mother of like invention.
Yeah.
Which one of your
I
17 languages that you speak is this coming
I
from?
learned this in Arabic, so
Okay.
I'm
Perfect.
sure there
Okay.
is a proper translation
Can you
than
say it
this.
again slower?
Like need or like necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah,
So
that
I
checks
think
out. Yeah.
I'm trying like to to answer the question through this saying by pointing out that in times of war the need is there and not any other need. It's really need that is very, very important, crucial. And that's where like the inventions and technology advancement go to the highest levels, because you really need that. Like it's a survival mode, and you can like see an analogy with yourself when you are in a survival mode. Let's say you lost your job, or when you graduate you don't have a job. You need to survive. So you will work in any kind of job just to get up and stand up on your feet. And so that, I think, scientifically or like also psychologically makes sense that we get the best inventions in during the times of war, and for defense, for attacks, for whatever it is. And now, should we have another way? Absolutely. I hope. But I don't think there is another time where we have the need as much as when you are in survival mode. So those invention or advancement would not be really that high or that advanced.
I do get that things are built out of necessity, but that necessity, that the necessity comes from this forever hunger of growing and like this insatiable hunger for more. And I think it's just, this is probably getting a bit philosophical, but I think it's just the downside of humanity. I think if we had started over in another planet, we'd probably end up in the same thing, in the same position, because I think it's just the nature of our being is that we are confrontational. I mean, we are animals. So I always think back to like these Amazonian tribes or Papua New Guinea tribes who are still sort of able to live out their traditional way of living, and they're so hostile to each other.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that we preach all of this. We preach peace and we know better, but we're still doing it. And the other side of things is the technology is great, yes. And it's made a lot of things better, especially in the world of healthcare and medicine and things. But I think we've said it a few times on this show that we technically don't really need any technology to be circular. We're just kind of reinventing wheels to kind of, yeah, to live how we were meant to live in the first place. I guess I don't really know where I'm going with this train of thought. I feel like there's 100 different thoughts going in, and I'm not piecing them together well enough live to
Your
explain it,
your
but
your thoughts are your thoughts are circular.
they are. They very much are.
No, but I think you got a point. It's like the question that comes to my mind is like, okay, if we are normal human beings and we can make these kind of reflections on why we think the way we think, which is the highest way of intelligence. It's called metacognition, the capacity to
Ooh,
observe your own thoughts.
do you know? Yes, I have something. I actually have a piece of data
Okay.
for the data queen. I read something the other day that only 10% of the world is self-aware and reflective, and that explains a metric ton. So I don't know what science that is based on, but yeah, sorry, just wanted to throw that in there. I had a bit of a that stuck with me.
That's no, yeah, and I totally agree. And imagine, I think we are part of that 10% because I think we're capable of think why are we thinking the way we're thinking. So that's metacognition, right? And then I was thinking, do you think that our global leaders, the most powerful people in this planet, has some level of metacognition? If they do, I don't even think it works the same like for us. Because if you have a minimum of common sense, you will realize that whatever they're doing, it's very insane. Then how it works? If our global leaders doesn't have the most minimum level of metacognition, then why we have it if we're normal people, you know?
So are you saying we should be global leaders?
Yeah.
I'll
Katie for
apply.
president.
I'll apply for the yeah. I'm turning 34 this year, so next year I'll be eligible.
What? It's a starting 35. I didn't know.
It's official. Caitlyn 2020 whatever year. I don't do math. 4 years from last year.
I can definitely be your campaign leader.
True.
I will vote for you.
Consider this my
Time to go
official
back to
announcement.
yes. It's time to go back home, Caitlyn.
Oh God.
And do some change.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to be that offensive about that. But no, I'm okay. Thank you. It's funny you say go back home because this is a bit of a shift in topic and very vulnerable of me to say while we're recording this. But it's interesting you say go back home because I don't know what or where or who that is. the concept of home at the moment. It's really interesting. I've been thinking about this for a while now because am I just gonna keep moving around the world until I am I chasing a place or am I chasing a type of person to make a home in? Or is the idea just to make a home in yourself? Yeah, at the moment, I'm not the happiest where I live, just the street. I live on the worst street in Rotterdam, where all the motorbikes congregate right outside my window. Seems like all of the motorbikes that ever existed in the Netherlands come to my front door. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. And then kind of it's kind of like on one side, you're like, just meditate and just be at peace with it, dude. And the other side is my nervous system is fried and maybe it's, not the right. Yeah. So what is for me, I am chasing the definition of home. And what do you think? I'm curious to hear what your definitions of home are. What do you consider home?
That's a hard one because I have moved, maybe not as much as you did. But I think for me, it can make easily connection to where I grew up. That's the land that calls me back, and where I feel like more being myself, being
And to be
more,
clear, this is Morocco you're talking about.
yeah,
For
yeah.
everyone that might not.
And the more specific place where I grew up in Morocco, like not any other place in Morocco, because it's such a big country, and yeah, when you go to another city, it's just different. Um, but there is another part of me that sometimes is, but you go there and after some weeks you get bored and you just want to leave, and that means that maybe what you have said is not correct, or not fully correct. And then if it's not there, the question is where. I end up like trying to get around, my head and understand why I have these thoughts. The conclusion I have so far is really to try to be home wherever you are, because it's really like energy
Yeah,
consuming, and just think about where else I could be? Where else could be my real home? Maybe that even doesn't exist.
it's exhausting.
Exactly.
But
So
I agree. I
it's
think
not
and that's what I'm working
sustainable.
towards. No, no. But I
um,
I agree, and that's something I know this is, more self-development, and this is more of the inner development goals, I would say, alongside that,
mhm.
and living to your values and things. So, yeah, it's an interesting line to walk, looking for your home, making a home in yourself, but also recognizing where you are might be like you have to be at home in yourself, but also understand that things in your external environment might not be this safe, whether it's 100 motorbikes all revving all night or it's not feeling safe when you walk outside, um, and just kind of understanding the difference between where you are externally, where you are internally.
I think you could also just make a small move. Don't have to travel so far to have better environment, feeling better, and you don't maybe just change the street. That's it.
Honestly, if I could pick up my house and just walk it back one street, it'd be perfect.
You
It's a
see?
bit heavy. I am strength training, but I'm not that strong yet, so give me some time.
Of course, like everyone else, or any other immigrant, I have also had this identity crisis. Like, where is my home? Because I love my city, I love Barranquilla, but at the same time, I like a lot many things in Swedish culture, for example. But I could say that to me, at this point of life, of course, you start thinking at home more like a person. For example, now, whatever my husband is, it becomes automatically my home because I have a person where I can build regardless of where I am. So I guess that is more or less how we have been feeling for a while. when you start like living with someone and then you build like a life project together. Now we have been living together in Madrid and also in Sweden. So it turns out a bit like a feeling rather than a place, I guess, and a person rather than a place. But I will also say trying to think about in these feelings when it comes to like how we're going to think for our futures. I think the more we think about our planet as a whole organism that we should be glad and thankful to be in, then the different limits and differences between cultures and countries, they will just disappear. So I really believe that we should stop dividing ourselves. That's something that I have been reflecting a lot lately, that I think also I have been talking about, like I feel at some point I mentioned you a book where I read about the us versus them. Like it's a fine line in human mind where the more identify you feel with a tribe, the more you have the need to hate the other, basically. That's what the experiment proved. It's called the Robert Cave experiment.
Is that the same idea of tribe member not warmed by the fire has more motivation to burn down the village or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me, I'm 2 for 2 today.
Bravo. No, I definitely think so. And I think it comes from a very basic biological tool that we have. Like the more we identify ourselves with a group, the more we need an enemy to fight against. So I think in this concept of home or like my tribe where I belong, it also comes this idea of maybe one of the best things we can do on an individual level. It's like, of course, having something to belong, like a person, a country, a community, but at the same time being aware of the feelings of, okay, but this other community is also my friend. Maybe I don't feel as much as belonging as here, but they are also part of my tribe in a bigger way. So at the end of the day, like the whole planet is my tribe, even though we are 8 billion people. And it sounds insane because we're designed for 150,
Yeah. Do you know what this reminds me of? And again, I'm taking us way out of circularity, I think now. We've
But we
gone
can link
from
it together. We can link it.
Yeah, we've gone from sustainability to personal growth and psychology sort of development stuff. And now I'm taking it spiritual level. I'm turning it up a notch. So this reminds me of like I think it's more in line with Buddhist preachings that we're all from the same place and we're all a part of the same collective and we choose our journey here on earth to kind of remember who we are. And when we pass on, we all go back into the same blob, for lack of better words. There's a really good scene actually in The White Lotus where he goes to the Buddhist and he has a really good explanation. I wish I could say it word for word, but what are your thoughts on we are all from the same place, just coming down and doing our thing? And maybe some people are more NPCs. I consider the motorcyclists NPCs in my in my journey.
I agree.
And it's like their sole mission on earth is to drive me crazy. And it's my mission on earth to be chill amongst the revving motorcycles. But yeah. What do you think of these theories?
It's absolutely true. Like, I mean, at least the way I think about it, or I believe, is because there's a common ending to all of us going to die.
Yeah. No one makes it out alive. Oh God, we
Yeah,
really are
so
getting depressed on the show. Nothing matters anymore. We're all gonna die. Sorry, listener. Sorry,
that's
friend.
it.
My
That's
trauma,
it.
my jokes.
Welcome to Nothing Doesn't Matter podcast.
Millennials gone depressive.
No, good. No, but last this weekend I was on the planetarium in Denmark. It was so you know that I always, every time that I feel overwhelmed, the planetarium is my happy place because they show me how insignificant we are in the universe, but at the same time, our problems looks very small because we're so meaningless. Anyways,
I
the-
like that.
yeah, right? Like then you see the history of Earth, you see how complex the universe is. This time they had like a very nice thing that I just stayed there for a very long time, where they were showing like our history backwards. So from the beginning of the times, 14 billion years Big Bang until now. And one of the things that really stuck in my mind that maybe all of us will already know, but sometimes it's very good to just remember it, even when it comes to sustainability and thinking about our future, is that we are all made of exactly the same things. You know, every single atom of carbon
Stardust.
is stardust. Every single
Stardust.
atom of carbon in our bodies, in our brains, everything, it came from the dinosaurs, from the beginning of Earth. You know, like we're the same. We're not different. So we shouldn't be fighting.
Are you saying we are dinosaurs?
Basically,
I mean,
we're
I am.
made of exactly the same as them.
My Nana loved that fact about science. She would always say, one of the things, may she rest in peace.
Yeah, may
One
she
of the
rest in
things I
peace.
quoted her, we were driving in the car, that country out in Wisconsin, and she took one of her shortcuts, and side note, shortcuts didn't necessarily mean faster. They just meant like nicer, I guess, or
Oh.
more direct. I don't know. The logic around her shortcuts was questionable. But I remember we were driving down, and we're just driving along, and she goes, "Oh, isn't it amazing? Right now, the air we're breathing is the same air that Julius Caesar breathed as he said, et brute," or something. I don't know what the line is, but she was constantly bringing up the fact that we're breathing air that has been through dinosaurs and Julius Caesar, and I wonder whose air I breathe today.
No.
Probably it's not the same air, I would argue, because it's more
The same
polluted now.
molecules,
The molecules?
It's
She's
more
right.
polluted now.
No, but
just
no,
with some spices.
some spices, yeah,
spicy
but it's
air.
the same oxygen. It's the same oxygen. It just has been
Yeah,
recycling
okay.
on the cycles of Earth over and over, but it's the same molecules of oxygen.
But I have a point. Like I like this idea of looking at like time scale, like from when life started until now, and obviously we are nothing. Like we're just not even a point in history. Then we go back to the question, or does it matter what I actually do then?
Oh,
Mm.
No.
yes. I think of the starfish principle. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing. So for
Okay.
those of you who don't know what the starfish principle is, there's a boy on the beach, right? And it's riddled with all of these starfish. So it's riddled with starfish that washed up on the beach. And this young boy is walking along, and he's picking up one starfish at a time and tossing it back into the ocean. And then an older gentleman who's walking, towards this boy is going, "What are you doing? You can't, there's too many starfish. You can't possibly make a difference." And then the boy picks up a starfish, throws it back into the ocean, said, "I made a difference to that one." So yes, it does matter, because we're sharing this earth with each other. And I think if we can make a difference in each other's lives or on an animal's life, here's Daisy, for example.
I was going to say that.
I think it does matter whether or not you're changing policy or recycling. It just it matters.
It's like we are making we can make an impact like at our scale. Like we should not think about like the universe scale or like the lifetime scale.
It's nice to zoom in. It's nice to zoom out to see how insignificant we are, and it's nice to zoom in to check in on ourselves. But then it's nice to kind of zoom back out at a nice neutral level and go, okay, I'm here. I'm gonna make the best of it and see if I can leave my lasting positive impact.
Exactly.
Everything still matters, everyone. And I know times are tough, but happy you're here. Happy we're doing this thing called life together. And we're all doing the best we can. So hang in there.
Yeah. Tough times are not forever.
Maybe with that, we bid each other adieu and stay positive, people.
Yeah. Better times are coming. Keep it up. We're made for survival. Like every single part of our body will help us to survive, our mind, our bodies. So let's just trust that and keep it going.
Stay circular.
Yes. Way to bring it back. Yes.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay.
I think all our thoughts and discussion is a bit circular. We're circular around more or less the like what's the point, what's why, and how to actually feel better, like be more present, enjoy, like have an impact in an environment, in a world where a lot of bad and good things are happening.
Also, I read something in the planetarium that really was very, gave me some hope. And it's about the overview perspective, which is when humans go to the space. Remember, we are going to the space in 2026, apparently. If we don't explode the world before that, there is a new mission to the moon. But
Okay.
besides that, they were talking about the overview perspective, which is how every astronaut, like every person that has been in the outer space, when they see the psychological effect of seeing the Earth as one single thing, it's something that they call the astronaut perspective or the astronaut overview, which is
Big
how
blue dot. Pale blue
exactly
dot.
how your mind, before you were thinking on like different like nationalities, countries, this and that, and suddenly after they see the Earth from the outer space, it's just one single thing where we are all living together and sharing this space together. And then it feels so real that your mind doesn't like even doubt it anymore. Like even for us, it's hard to imagine Earth like a one single thing where we're just living together here because it looks so big. But suddenly, if we manage to go to the space at some point in our lives, apparently what it says is like your mind will never see it again the same way that it sees now, because now your brain finally understands, oh, we're actually living together here. So that's the astronaut perspective.
Yeah.
And maybe we should all find a way to have it, even if we cannot go to space yet.
Well, that was definitely one of our more unfiltered conversations. If there's one thing we hope you take away from this episode, it's that it's okay to feel overwhelmed sometimes. The world is heavy right now, but even in the middle of uncertainty, sustainability and community and connection and hope, they all still matter. So maybe now more than ever. Thank you for sitting in on this conversation with us and for being part of this growing Millennials Gone Circular community. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone else who might need the reminder that they aren't alone in trying to navigate all this. But before we go, Millennials Gone Circular is a production of The Waste Not Spot. The Waste Not Spot recognizes the many traditional landowners around the world and their continued stewardship of our planet. We pay our respects and offer our deepest gratitude. Until next time.